Alright, what is up everybody? Today we are going to be trying the beamng car testing. This will be part 2. This will be the Ram TRX. There are not any other current versions besides these ones, and I don't really think we need these, but keep an eye out for this one, the ones with the bull bars in future videos. Got some fun ideas for this. But the Hennessy Vena, like, they don't really change. Nothing changes about them. They keep the same power. They keep everything is the exact same. Nothing changes. So they're technically just a reskin with a different name. So I chose the TRX. And for our first test, we are going to try hill climbing. Now you're probably sitting here and wondering, what the fuck is going to climb that? Now, there's nothing that will climb that, but there's something that could maybe climb that, and we're going to see with this thing. Before I go, I'd like to say, thank you for all the support recently. If you would, please leave a like and comment down below what car you would like to see in the future in one of these car test videos. I can find many cars, I can find many mods, even if the car isn't in the beamng website. So please, let me know. And if you feel like it, go ahead and subscribe while you're at it, you know? If you're feeling like it, of course. But here we go. The TRX test up the hill. Back up just a little bit. Right? From the beach up the hill. Hang on. Come on, go, 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 go. Put her in low. She ain't done. She got up it. She ain't done. Nope. Even the parking brake ain't on her. I mean, Bubba, we're at a 45-degree pitch. There ain't much that can actually get up a 45-degree pitch. Now that I'm looking at how much of an angle we're at. Come on. Uh-oh. Hang on. We have now souped this thing up on some big ol' Jimbo Willy Bobs. And we will attempt to go up the mountain now with the big old Wimbo Dilly Bobs, you know. See if the big old crawler tires can make a difference here. A little softer on the landings, I'll give it that. A little bit more bouncy after you land. Alright, we're at about definitely getting there. Got this, come on, come on. Come on. Oh! And it rolled. Oh, it rolled. Oh. Hang on. Didn't roll all the way down. It rolled back over. Somehow. good brake test, honestly. Brakes are pretty good on this thing. It's a little bit of an easier trail. I'm gonna try and get up this one. A little bit more bumpy, but not as steep. Oh, no, ain't stuck. This thing don't get stuck. This thing don't get stuck. This thing actually don't get stuck. Oh. And that was it. So if you were wondering what happened after all the sliding, it basically eventually quit and our entire roof kind of caved in on itself. So all around though, I would definitely give the TRX about a 7.2 on the off-road. It couldn't make it to the top one either, so that's why it doesn't get too high of a rating. If it could have made it to the top on the easy track, it definitely would have earned itself an 8 easily, maybe an 8.5 if it would have made up this and the easy track. Well, obviously that's a 10 if it doesn't roll or almost roll back. I would definitely give it a 10 to maybe even a 9.5 if it didn't make it up. But, I'm gonna test. I'm gonna test how easy is it to roll over. I wanna see. See, around 60 miles per hour, it seems like, whenever you're on some big old wheels. If you go a little too hard on the sand, might be the last thing you do on the sand. And honestly, I would test this roll of like how much it can roll off the pitch. I guess it would be flipping. So let's see how much we can get on the pitch. Let's see if it'll flip. I don't even. Let's just give it a little jump test here. Wow. Okay, so that really messed this thing up. That snapped our drive shot. Okay, so yeah, snapped the drive shot. It can get kind of deep in the water there, I'm kind of noticing. Drive into a hydro block. Dang, not very deep. Not very deep. When is the exhaust? That's why. Okay. So yeah. I mean, all around, For the survivability and hill climb, just off-road ability, I will definitely give it a 7.8, not a 7.5 anymore, just by seeing what it can do. It did lose the 8. I was going to give it an 8 because it didn't roll back, but it lost the 8 when it basically didn't even make it 5 seconds in the water. I understand it is a car, but I've had cars beamng like drive in the water and just scoop right on out. So I do have to give it a little bit less. So we will go with a 7.8 on the off-road. Let's see its off-road crash test and off on-road handling, because now we've seen. Now I do want to test one more thing before we get to the on-road. Now that we're on some on-road, we're going to do some brake testing and some 0 to 60 testing, just so you can see how that is. Now that right there is what I'm talking about. That was a pretty weird angle. It wasn't a very good camera angle, I can tell. Okay, so we are going to launch it 0 to 60. Right, we got 420 on the first one. Alright, so 120 to brake. Okay, so at the end of the track here, you fall through the map, I've learned now. So, I gotta be careful whenever we do that. We did get a lot faster on the 0 to 60 there, so we might take that one over the last one. But, full brake, so we don't roll off the earth. There's even a little bit of handbrake in there. Wow, okay. Not awful, really, honestly, isn't awful. 500 feet, though. That's honestly, though, the odds of you going 120 in this thing are very low, you know? I feel like anybody anywhere is not doing that speed. So now we'll go ahead and test out now, since we have done a 0 to 120. We will now end this, well, the 0 to 120 and then a 0 to 60. So for the 0 to 60, it was a speed thing. The 120 to 0, I should technically say, not 0 to 120, was for the braking. But now we're going to do a 60 mile per hour brake test to see how far that will be. As soon as I see 60 miles per hour. Alright, 150 feet is not bad, I feel like, for a 0 to 60. You know, it is a heavy truck, 5,000 pounds right here. Definitely not the lightest thing on the planet, you know. But it does its job. I will say, for speed and brake testing, I would definitely have to give it. The braking was a little iffy, in my opinion, for the long 120, but you actually getting this thing to 120, it's a lot less likely. So I won't count it as much against the actual car's testing and its ability to perform. So I'll say I'll give it, I'm not going to give it something crazy like a 7 or an 8, but I'll give it like a 6.5, honestly. And the only reason I'm going to give it a 6.5 is it's not a bad truck. Do not get me wrong here. All good times. 4 seconds and a 5,000, almost a 6,000 pound beast here. That's pretty fast, honestly, in 4 seconds average, 0 to 60. It's pretty big and fast for a big old beast like this. The only thing that really gets me is the distance. The distance is what really got me on the braking here. Sure, I would be okay with how long it took to brake. You know, the 6 seconds, that could have been fine, but we needed to shorten the distance, you know. We needed to brake for this long. That's okay, that's okay. Being able to having to brake for a long time, but not having to go so far. Which isn't likely because the more speed you have, the further you are going to go in the braking. But we definitely could have eliminated some of this, not too much. And everything else here, completely fine. The braking test, this honestly, we'll move it up from a 6.5 to about a 6.8, just for the simple fact of this was really good. I like this number. But now we'll get on to the handling and the official top speed test. And now it is time for the brake and handling, well, not brake, sorry, the handling and speed test. So this is basically the test where we are speeding and we're testing out how it will handle, you know, the handling during the speed. So let's go ahead and get into this. Okay. Off the rip, a lot of power still on the roads. Still a lot of power. Off-road, I didn't even really notice until like it started pulling us a little bit. Okay, so, you know, because you're off-road, because you are a off-road beast, you can hit them off-roads at that speed. But realistically, you cannot go through turns in this thing at 100 some. Definitely realizing that. Maybe you can. Okay, so this thing is insane. This thing is actually insane. Speed limiter is really screwing us up right now. Holy hell, dude. Oh shit. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Turn, turn, turn. Not too bad for the first test. We are gonna give it another test. This will be test number 2 of the speed and handling. And, you know, let's just see how it is. After this one, we're gonna do a third one. But on the third one, we are gonna upgrade it just a little bit. I know what I want to do to it. $120 through the turn on the TRX. Pretty sturdy, honestly. But here we go, getting into the turns. Alright, honestly, this thing can handle. Get this thing going, man. The brakes are squealing. twisted. Does it have a... Honestly, I'll give it to this thing. Beautiful weight transfers there, especially right there towards the end. Those were some beautiful weight transfers. I'll give it to this thing. It can definitely do what you need it to. But I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade this, and I won't upgrade stuff like this, but it'll be little stuff. Alright, now that I've added a little bit of upgrades, a little bit, just a tiny little upgrade. So I did add some new tires to it. So handling the speed limiter delete seems to pretty much leave the chat, like completely. Oh yeah, she's done. Alright, changed a little something. Alright, we have made one final adjustment. We've made one final adjustment now. So this will be test number 4, I think. This will be the final test before the overall score. Alright, pretty good, honestly. Alright, that was my fault. So we are gonna give it one more shot down this road, because that was my fault. This is the final shot for the TRX. It's already basically proven itself. Well, it's pretty good. All around though, I will definitely have to give the Ram TRX. I'm definitely gonna give it an overall. I will definitely have to give it for handling, braking, off-road, all of it, everything that we have tested in this video. I will have to give it a solid 7.4, 7.5. We'll give it a 7.5. Right in that middle. It's not an 8. There's not many cars that I know that will be an 8, but hopefully one day we do find the 8 marker car. That's what we're looking for right now, is the 8 marker that is actually a valid 8 number, not one that's modded out the ass. Sure, this thing is modded, but stock it would perform even better because it wouldn't be going as fast. So just take that into thought whenever you're thinking about this. The judgment on my personal number of the TRX, it is a 0 to 10, so a 7.5 I feel like isn't too bad, but please let me know in the comments if that's a bad rating, what your ratings are, or what you would like to see me test in the future. Also, if you want to, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And, I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.